Was there ever a moment in my life when I actually surprised myself? Yes. I have discovered that I am a hypersensitive individual. I am extremely good at displaying emotion, however, not so good at controlling it. In other words, I'm a crier. Years ago, I heard of an organization called Toastmasters International. I didn't know too much about it, only that it had something to do with public speaking. I had thought about going to a meeting and finding out what it was all about, but something inside of me just didn't want to follow through. I was afraid. I was afraid that I would be, number one, judged. Number two, I wouldn't measure up to their standards. And number three, that I'd discover that my writing ability and my speaking abilities weren't as good as I thought they were. Every time I got close to attending a meeting, my insecurities would start to surface. I just wouldn't follow through with it. Then one day, I just decided, well, let's go for it and find out. So I walked through the doors of Stony Creek Toastmasters and took a chance. In a future video, we're going to actually go to a Toastmasters meeting and find out what it's all about firsthand. And trust me, it wasn't as bad as I thought. At first, I was quiet, just wanted to observe. But eventually, I did start to participate. There is this one segment of the evening called Table Topics. It's an opportunity to challenge your impromptu speaking skills. And you get a random question or topic, and you have 1 minute to share your story with the rest of the members that are there. And at the end of the night, there is even a ribbon given for the best table topics. And that's how I started my Toastmasters journey. As my shyness began to dissipate, I started signing up for speeches. Because of what I was going through in my life at the time, most of my speeches were emotional. You see, we'd recently discovered that my son was dealing with cancer. My son was an adult. He was married. He worked at a job that he loved. He was a purchasing manager for a local building supply company. He also coached football at his former high school, and he loved doing it. He was very dedicated, and he had so many friends and was very close to them. Now he had to prepare for the fight of his life. His character was so strong, and so was his grit and determination. Oh, and one more thing. He did not want to burden anybody, not even his mother. Me, all I wanted to do was make life easy for him, and I really struggled with the fact that I wasn't able to find a cure for his cancer. I trusted him, though, and I didn't want to interfere or appear overbearing, but I did want him to know that I was on standby, and if he needed me for anything, I was just a phone call away. Well, I waited, and I waited, but finally, I got the call. Mom, would you mind driving me to one of my chemo appointments? It's in Burlington, and the drug is kind of strong, so they don't recommend that I drive. Absolutely, I'll be there. I went there, picked him up, took him to his appointment. I'm so glad that I did, because it was also an opportunity for us to bond a little more. And I remember after coming home, I began to write about that experience. I eventually crafted the writing that I did into a speech. I called it Driving Daffodils. And I decided to use it for one of my Toastmasters speeches, which I ended up winning the speech of the night for. But that's not where the story ends. You see, when I gave the speech the first time at my Toastmasters meeting, my son was still fighting the battle. A year later, my son Michael passed away. I rewrote the end of the speech and decided to honor my son by competing in the Toastmasters International Speech Contest in 2021. It took all the confidence and courage that I could muster just to get through the speech without breaking down. But I did it. This was something that surprised me because I really didn't think that I had the ability, the confidence, or the talent to pull it off and to garner a first place finish in my club, the area, the district, the division. I might not have went on to win Toastmasters International, but for me, it was a win nonetheless because it was such a meaningful experience that I was able to share not only with my audience, most importantly, with my son.
The greatest gift you can ever give someone is your time. And the most precious gift you can ever receive is when someone shares their moments with you. The first time I saw him, I knew he was special. 10 tiny fingers and 10 wiggly little toes. Instantly, he became my everything. Hey, Ma, there's something I have to tell you. I wanted to do it in person, but it's been crazy busy at work. Sure, Mike, what is it? But then the sun shone in through one of the windows, and it added streaks of gold to the mundane putty-colored walls. And just like spring's first daffodils, it offered hope. It seemed as if time stood still in that room. For the most part, it was silent, motionless. No one would ever suspect the raging battle going on in there. But I knew a war had been declared. The drive home was rough. But we managed. His wife called to see how things went, and I could see him soldiering a brave face. With that, he leaned over, kissed me on the cheek, got out of the car, walked into the house, closing the door behind him. And as Dr. Seuss once wrote, sometimes you will never know the value of a moment until it becomes